Is it always morally wrong to steal? Do we have a moral obligation to give to charity? Is it morally permissible to drink excessive amounts of alcohol? Before we can provide useful answers to these sorts of questions, we need to have a grasp on the basic ideas being used here. More specifically, we have to have some sense of what it means for an action to be morally wrong, obligatory, or permissible. The goal of this video is to give you a better grasp on what these terms mean to prepare you to jump into some moral philosophy. Let's start with what it means for something to be morally obligatory. It always helps to look at examples, so let's take a look at a famous one posed by Peter Singer. Suppose you're walking past a body of water and you notice that a child is drowning. Are you morally required to jump in and save the child? Hopefully you think the answer is obvious. Of course you are. But what would you say if someone asked you why it's wrong to not save the child? At this point, you would start pointing out the obvious reasons. You might say something like, human lives are valuable, or we have to help those who are in need. These responses give us some insight as to what it means to say it's morally obligatory to save the child. Part of what we mean when we say that an action is morally obligatory is that we have strong moral reasons to do it. But what if someone responds to you and says, well, sure, you're right that we have to help those who are in need, but I was wearing my very expensive suit and would have damaged it if I jumped into the water. To this, most of us would respond that even if you have some legitimate concern for your own property, the value of a human life is far more important than damaging one's expensive suit. So, to say that it is morally obligatory to save the child is not only to say that we have moral reasons to save the child, but also that other moral reasons, such as concern for our own property, usually do not override the moral reasons given to save the child. We can define this a bit more precisely as follows. One is morally obligated to act or refrain from acting in some way, just in case one has strong moral reasons to act or refrain from acting in that way, and those reasons are not easily outweighed by other moral reasons. Now that we have a working understanding of what it means for an action to be morally required, we can define what it means for something to be morally wrong and morally permissible. Let's start with what it means for something to be morally wrong. One is morally wrong to act in some way, just in case not acting in that way is morally obligatory. So, to use a different example, to say that it is morally wrong to kill innocent persons just means that you are morally required not to kill innocent persons. Seems straight enough. In other words, the moral reasons to refrain from killing innocent persons are not usually outweighed by moral reasons that one might provide to justify killing innocent persons. Some examples of strong moral reasons not to kill innocent persons might be that human lives are extremely valuable, or that killing severely restricts one's autonomy, or both. Now, that's not to say that these strong moral reasons can never be overridden. For instance, one scenario in which it might be justified to kill innocent persons is when civilian casualties might be the regrettably foreseen but unintended result of a necessary military strike. But I'll set these complications aside for now. So far, we've only considered what it means for an action to be morally obligatory or wrong. However, there exists a third category of moral actions, those that are morally permissible. It is morally permissible for one to act in some way, just in case that action is not morally wrong. You can think of morally permissible actions as actions that generally do not have any strong moral reasons against acting that way, or at least not strong enough reasons to act one way or the other. Some mundane examples of this might be going for a cup of coffee in the morning, or going to see your favorite band play. But there are more controversial examples of things that might be morally permissible. For instance, abortions might be morally permissible if there are good reasons to think that it's not morally wrong. There might be some reason that these activities are wrong. Perhaps buying an expensive cup of coffee is forbidden when you could have given that money to a hungry person. But debates about what moral reasons win out at the end of the day is a topic for another video. Thank you for watching 5 Minute Ethics. Please like and subscribe.